Hi, I'm Ben Salinas, and welcome to another great Magic Makers DVD title. On this DVD, we're going to learn some incredible impromptu magic with rubber bands. These are tricks you can do absolutely anywhere, anytime. So grab some rubber bands, and let's get started. And now we have the linking bands, and crediting for this one should go to Dan Harlan. Okay, let's take a look at the performance. Start off with two bands. Two contrasting colored bands, and I'm using big binder bands here. Jamie, if you'd help me out for a second. There you go. Two bands. Jamie, if you grab these two center pieces right here, give them a little rub. Perfect, let go. And you've linked the bands right through each other. The top strand is completely through that bottom one, right in there. So let's try it one more time. Rub that center piece one more time. Just rub it, give it a nice little rub. Keep going, keep going. Perfect. Take your hand away. And we've done it. And that is the linking bands. Okay, now for the explanation for Dan Harlan's linking bands. And full credit for this does go to Dan Harlan. Just an incredible creative brain in magic. Start off with two bands. Now I like to use big binder bands. And you don't have to, but I think this adds so much more to the trick and makes it something that'll play for a much bigger audience. Definitely use two different color bands. Now we start off with the bands held between the first fingers and pinkies of the two hands. Show the bands to your spectators. They can check them out if they want. Okay, now there's a quick setup you have to do, and you do it right in front of the spectators. You start with the bands around your first finger and your pinkies of both hands. After the bands have been inspected, you have to do a quick setup. Now there's a lot of ways to get into this, and you'll find a way that you like that works the best for you. I'll show you how I do it. As I address the spectator, telling them to come closer or telling them that we're going to need their hand, just a quick misdirection. You drop your hands just slightly down to about waist height, and under cover of that, your thumbs enter the top band. They're going to bring it down and grab the bottom band. Then your middle fingers go inside that strand. So now what we've done, if you can see here, all we've done is loop one band through the other. This is your setup, and this is all done very quickly as you drop the hands and bring them back up. Then you close the fingers in like this, and everything looks normal. To do the trick, have the spectator come forward and tell them to pinch this strand. Now what you're going to do, you're going to bring your hands out like this, your fingers and thumb out, just by way of explanation, just to say, here, grab these two strands. What you're actually doing is letting go of what's behind your right fingers. We're going to do it right as they grab the band. It's great. It's completely covered by their own hand. So you say here, pinch right in the center there. They pinch, they rub. When they pull their hands away, it's linked. Now I stretch the bottom band out and release the top band a bit for a very convincing display of that rubber band penetrating right through the bottom band. Now the nice thing here is you can turn around and people can look at your hands from the inside too, and it looks very convincing. There's no bad angle here. All the dirty work is covered up right here by your left fingers. So you've done the display, you've turned it around to show everybody. Get back into your performance position here, putting pressure on the bands. Have that same person come forward, and you're going to repeat the same move with the left hand that you just did with the right hand. Gesture, say, grab the center bands again. And all you're doing, you're just letting go of what's behind the left fingers, which will undo the bands. So we're here. Have them grab the center bands, have them rub them together between their fingers, and when they let go, the bands have separated. From there, you can hand the bands out. There's nothing to hide. They've done all the work for you. And that's the linking bands. Now we're ready for the classic of all rubber band tricks. This is easily the most popular rubber band trick ever. You can find this everywhere, and it's often not even credited properly. This belongs to Arthur Sederington from the UK. This is Arthur Sederington's penetrating bands. You start with two bands. You place one band inside the other band. So they're definitely linked inside of each other. As long as I keep my fingers apart, these bands can't come out. But here's where the magic happens. If I rub right in the center, watch right in the middle there, and you'll see one band pass right through the other band. Now we can take this a step further. Let's have a spectator help us out. Okay, you hold the band just like this between your fingers. I'll place this band on your side. So now I can't go off the sides, I can't go through it, I can't go off the top, I can't go off the bottom. But if I can find that soft spot, there we go. The bands pass right through each other. And now the explanation for Arthur Sederington's penetrating bands. You start with the bands on your first fingers. I stick my left thumb through the strand and stretch it out. Take the right band, you're going to drop it behind that rubber band, so it goes into the space between the rubber band and your left fingers. Your left thumb comes underneath and grabs it. So the band is really in there. Now to prove it, I stretch the band to the right, to the left, to the bottom, to the top, and you even stretch them apart. Now when I stretch them apart, this is where you do the secret move. Your middle finger of your right hand is going to clamp down onto the nail of your first finger. You can do the same thing with your left middle finger and first finger, just for continuity. Now as the hands come apart, all the focus is in the center there, right here. The dirty work happens over here. Stretch them apart. You're going to bend your right fingers so that the strand actually comes off your first finger. That's why your middle finger is there, to keep it from completely popping off. Like that. Middle fingers are clamped down onto the nail of the first finger. As you separate the hands, the band comes off the right first finger. You're going to dip your first finger into the strand held by your left thumb, or your right thumb, off the first finger. Your first finger picks up the strand going around the thumb. When the hands come back together, you're going to release what's being held by your middle finger, which will snap the band onto this side of the left-hand band. I'll do the whole move for you. Clamp down. Hands come apart. And only when the hands get back together, when the bands come back to touching, do you release with your middle finger, because you'll get that snapping, and you don't want that to happen way out here. Now, from the spectator's point of view, they can't tell that these strands aren't through each other, aren't behind each other. As long as you keep it in motion, you've got a great bit of camouflage there. So as soon as they come together, fingers in motion, and then slowly separate the hands. For the second part of the trick, have a spectator hold on to the band. And we'll just use my fingers for now. The mechanics are exactly the same, only somebody else is holding this band. They hold onto the strand, you place your band through it, let them see that it's really in there. You go back and forth between their fingers, you pull away to show them that you can't get out that way, and this is where you do that secret move. Come back, and even though it's right in their face, as long as you keep the bands in motion, they won't be able to tell that the rubber band has jumped to the other side. Go back and forth as if you're looking for a soft spot or a magic spot in the band, and then pull away. All right, that was cool. Now let's get into the jumping band. Here's a great trick, and the best part, it's easy. It's so easy. But we've got some great twists on it that you're really gonna like. Okay, start with the band wrapped around my top two fingers, my first finger and middle finger. And you can see it's really on there. Keep an eye on it. 1, 2, 3. And now it's jumped to my bottom two fingers. And you can see it's really on there. One more time. It's around those bottom two fingers. Keep an eye on it. 1, 2, 3. And it's jumped back to my top two fingers. You can keep going on and on with this, but we're going to go someplace different. Keep an eye on it. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Gone. And that is the jumping band. Okay, let's learn the jumping band. Start with the band. Now in this case you want a small band. If you have a larger one, just double it. Double it up on itself so it's a little tighter. Because you want the band to fit pretty snugly around 2 of your fingers. Place the band around your top 2 fingers, your first finger and middle finger. And you're going to show the audience that it really is on there. Grab the band with your right hand, give it a good stretch. Now, as you close this hand into a fist, you're going to insert all 4 fingers into the band. That's the secret move right there. Now with all 4 fingers in there, and this is hidden from the front, the spectators can't tell that all 4 fingers are in there. It's a very easy move. You show the band and square it up. Everything looks normal from the front. They can even pluck on it to prove it's still on there. Now with a band like this, wrapped around these fingers, if you open your hand, I'll try and do this slowly for you. If you open the hand, you'll see that what happens is the band actually springs off the top 2 fingers and wraps around the bottom 2. The band is moving from these 2 fingers to these 2. That's the basic movement behind this. And it's all done just by wrapping around the tips of your fingers. So once again, it's around the first 2 fingers. As you turn the hand back towards the audience, you insert all 4 fingers in there, let go of the band. Now we did it this way and did an up and down motion. During that up and down motion, all I'm doing is opening my fingers, the band jumps over, and then immediately closing my fingers. And that's covered by the larger motion of the hand moving up and down. It's jumped, open your hand, show them it's really around those fingers, close your fist, and once again inserting all 4 fingers into the strand. Once again, up and down, open the fingers, close the fingers, it's jumped over. And that's how you do the jumping band. And now for an absolutely killer ending to the jumping band trick. This is from Max Mellini, the famous conjurer from many years ago. Mellini would do the normal jumping band trick back and forth across the fingers. For the final time, he would show the band wrapped around the top 2 fingers, make a fist, only this time, instead of encircling all 4 fingers in the band, he would only encircle the top 2. So you want to encircle only the fingers that the band is currently around. So if it's around the top 2 fingers, the top 2 fingertips go in. Bottom fingers, the bottom 2 fingertips go in. It looks exactly the same from the front. Your spectators won't notice any difference. Hold the strand up like this, and now in this up and down motion, this time when you open your fingers, the band actually will fly off. And since the hand is held level with their eyes, the band's going to fly up over their head, and it'll effectively disappear. 1, 2, 3. And the band has disappeared. And that's Max Mellini's addition to the jumping band. Okay, now we have the jumping band taken one step further. We're going to make it a little more impossible by adding a guard. Now your spectator might think that the rubber band's just coming off the fingers. Well, we'll take care of that. We'll take a different colored band and wrap it around each and every finger, creating a little fence. So now this band isn't going to go anywhere. It's wrapped around the fingers, but all it takes is a little snap, and the band has now passed right through our guard, right through the fingers, from the top to the bottom. One more time, from the bottom, just like that, passed right through. You're going to love this part. The explanation? It's the exact same thing you already know. Putting this guard into place makes absolutely no difference in the operation of the trick, but it looks that much more impossible to your audience. The rubber band is still making its same movement from one set of fingers to the other. You don't do anything different except to place one rubber band around the top fingers. Place it around the first finger, give the band a twist, put your middle finger in, twist it back, ring finger, pinky finger. So it's locked on there. Same as before, Stretch the band to show it's really around those top fingers. And as you close your hand, insert all 4 fingertips into the strand. We're doing absolutely nothing different, and you can even bring this one back a bit so it looks a little, so it doesn't go out of their sight. Close the hand, and just by opening the fingers, it jumps down to the bottom. Once again, show it, close the fingers, jumps to the top. You've just made the jumping band look that much more impossible without any extra work on your part. Now you're ready for the double jumping bands. We have a blue band on top, an orange band on the bottom, both securely wrapped around their fingers. Don't forget, blue on the top, orange on the bottom. Just like that. The blue's on the bottom, and the orange on the top. And that's the double jumping band. Okay, we're taking that jumping band one step further. And again, no extra work for you. It just gets better and better, doesn't it? This time we have the blue band around the top 2 fingers. We've added a second band around the bottom 2 fingers. All that's happening here is the bands making their same motion off one set of fingers onto the other. They'll just be passing each other. It's going to happen simultaneously. Wrap the bands around the fingers. You really need to use 2 different colored bands for this one. Stretch both of the bands out. And you guessed it, all 4 of these fingers, instead of just going into their individual bands, are going to go into this big triangle here. So you've got all 4 fingertips inside both bands. One more time. Stretch one out. Stretch the other one out. Stick all 4 fingertips into it. And just as normal, open your hand. And they change places. That's it. That's the double jumping bands. This is the band through the wrist. The band goes around the wrist. We'll double it over to make it twice as hard. Grab a strand. 1, 2. Right through. That's the band through the wrist. For the band through the wrist, I'm using a large binder folder band again, because they're easier to see. You can use any size band for this. Now the method is from Willie Schneider. The band goes around your arm. You want to twist your right hand away, forming an X. Your middle finger of your left hand goes into that X. Then your right hand turns back towards you, creating another X. So we've made 3 little sections of band here. Once again, grab the band, fingers down, stretch it, turn your hand away from you, insert the middle finger, turn your hand back towards you, and now your entire left hand is going to go into this hole here. And your middle finger just holds on to that little bit of band that it has. That's the whole key. As soon as you let go of that little piece here, the band will come free. There's a nice bit of distance here between where the finger's holding it and where the band actually is, so it doesn't look like the fingers have anything to do with it. Grab a strand of the band, pull once, twice, and on the 3rd pull, release your middle finger. That, along with the tension of you pulling, will release the band. And it looks as if the band traveled right through your wrist. And that is the band through the wrist. Thank you to Willie Schneider. And now we have Walter Rollins' torn and restored elastic. Take the band. We're going to bite right through it. Broken. All it takes is a quick snap. The band is completely restored. Okay, here's how you do the torn and restored elastic by Walter Rollins. Okay, we start with a band wrapped around your thumb and first finger. Your other hand comes over, pinches right in the center of the band. Now you're going to bring your thumb and first finger together. You're going to let the strand that's around your thumb slip off and onto your first finger. Insert your pinky into this space over here on the far left. Your pinky goes in. Your left pinky goes in. And now your thumb and first finger are going to grasp the strand on their side, right about here, really close to the first finger of the other hand. It grasps there. Your right hand rotates just a bit so that the strand is now off of the first finger. To get that noise of it breaking, all you're going to do is pull this section free from between these two fingers. So these two fingers need to let go just a bit to get that good snapping sound. Now the band is just doubled over right now, but you want to keep it stretched nice and tight. It looks like it's one single band. To restore it, the left hand lets go completely and lets everything go into the right hand. Right hand closes around it. Snap your fingers. Now I like to pull the band out. I don't release these two fingers yet. I pull the band out, show it. They don't think it's restored yet. They think you're just holding it. Do a little rub and then release. Just a little bit of showmanship at the very end of it. I'll do the moves one more time. Insert the pinky. Insert the other pinky. The break. Let everything go into the right hand. Reach in and pull the strand out. And it's restored. And now, the band up the nose. Take a band and you put it up your nose. Okay, this is the band up the nose. And the crediting on this, as far as I know, goes back to Charlie Fry. Some people say also Joe Rindfleisch might have been important in the creation of this. But as far as I know, Charlie Fry, and we'll throw one out to Joe Rindfleisch too. Start off, you're going to need a bunch of bands around your wrist. So this is normal if you're doing a lot of rubber band magic. This is going to be a little camouflage for you. The band that's in your hand actually comes from your wrist. So you drop your hands to your side as you're talking to your audience. Yank one band out. You're going to grab it with your thumb and first finger, excuse me. Now, from this side is exposed, but from the back of the hand, everything looks very natural. So I'll give you a little exposed shot. That's what I'm seeing. Now, all you do, you bring your left hand, your upper hand, up to your nose, and all you're going to do is release this upper strand. You release, it shoots right back down around your wrist. Now, since that's a little exposed, we're going to add some motion. So the motion will be the hands coming up just a bit, the head coming up right along with it, and it goes up the nose. Now, there's a little touch from Eugene Berger when he does his cigarette up the nose. These left fingers are going to stay at the nose for a second or two later to help you with a little retention of vision. So, you come up, everything comes up, release, and keep your fingers there just for an extra second or so. It helps give the illusion that the band really went up the nose. At full speed. And that's the band up the nose. Now you're ready for the rising ring on band. Watch the ring as it slowly climbs its way up the band. And that's it. So how do we do this? Really simple. You need a broken rubber band for this one. So just break one. Now, place a ring on it, and you want to gather most of the band into one hand. So most of it's hidden in your hand. And then stretch the last little bit as much as you can. All you're going to do is you're going to be releasing pressure with your thumb, which allows the band to slip right through your fingers. So what's happening is the band is actually moving, and the ring's just riding along with it. Now all you have to do is work to get it to release smoothly. You don't want any jerky movements. You don't want it to bounce across. You want it to just very smoothly slide across. You'll get to a point where there's not enough tension left on the band. You have to stop there. So there's your quick setup. It's all gathered into the fingers. Stretch out the piece that you have and just release. Now you have to play with how high of an angle you can do. The lighter the ring, usually the higher you can go. If you have something that's rubber that you can wrap around here, like a washer or something, it'll hold even better to the rubber band. Just release, and the ring works its way up the band. Now here's a great presentation for that. In this case, you want to grab some strand in both hands. So you've got the band pulled pretty tight, you're hiding some in both hands. Borrow a girl's ring, place it on the center of the rubber band, and tell her how, since it's her ring, it's attracted to her. Have her place her hand on this side over here, and the band will travel across to her hand. It's attracted to her. Have it stop. Have her move her hand over to the other side. So now her hand's on this side. And of course the band follows her. And that's it. That's a great little presentation for the ring rising on band. Next up we have band through Sharpie. And that's the band through Sharpie. Borrow a Sharpie, use your own. Wrap the rubber band around the Sharpie. Now you're going to twist your right hand away from you to form a little X. Your first finger of your left hand, the hand holding the Sharpie, goes into that X. And now your right hand is going to twist back towards you, forming another little X. And you're going to take that right up over the top of the Sharpie. Now your first finger is doing all the work. That little bite, as soon as your first finger lets go of that, the band will release. So you're going to hide that by turning the Sharpie towards the audience. So now your first finger is back there doing all the dirty work. From the front, everything looks very clean. And here I'll show it to you from the back view so you can see what happens. You pull, pull. The last time you just release your first finger and it comes loose. The band is around the Sharpie. You're holding it with your right hand, fingers on top, thumb on the bottom. Turn your hand away from you, forming an X. Place your left first finger into the opening. Turn your right hand back towards you, forming another X. And loop it up over the top of the Sharpie. One, two, and on three you release with your left finger and pull the band free. That's the band through Sharpie. This is the thumb penetration by Ed Michel. Here's how you do the thumb penetration. This is very similar to the Sharpie penetration, using the same method by Ed Michel. The thumb goes into the band. The band's being held by your right hand, fingers on top, thumb on the bottom. Turn your hand away from yourself. Insert your left middle finger into this newly formed section here. Twist the band back toward yourself and insert your left thumb into this newly formed section here. Now you'll notice that back here your middle finger is holding a little piece of band. If that middle finger releases, the band comes off. So that's the secret work that you want to hide. Twist away, insert your middle finger, twist toward you, lift it up over the thumb. Now holding your middle finger right behind your thumb hides the dirty work and at the same time looks very natural. 1, 2, and on 3, your middle finger releases, the band comes off. From behind, 1, 2, 3. That's Ed Michel's thumb penetration. And now we have a simplification on the thumb penetration. 1, right through. Now this is the same as Ed Michel's thumb penetration, but it's an easier way to get into it, and this is created by Dan Harlan. Hold the band wrapped around your right fingers. You insert your thumb into the band. Now instead of the right hand doing all these movements, the left middle finger comes over and grasps the top band, pulls it down. The left hand turns palm down, the right hand turns palm out, wraps around the top of the thumb. Now you're in the exact same position as in the Ed Michel version. Got your middle finger holding a little bite, but it's much easier to get into. Pull, pull, middle finger releases, and the band pulls right through the thumb. That's it. And here's a little quickie called snap. We start with the deck, wrapped up with a couple rubber bands. Keep an eye on the ace of spades, because it's about to escape. Just that quickly. The ace of spades is free, and the deck is still wrapped. And that's snap from Ed Michel. Okay, here's how you do snap. Take a deck of cards and take out the card that's going to escape, in this case the ace of spades. Set it aside for a moment. You want to wrap two bands around the deck. So they're going from the bottom of the deck to the top of the deck, all the way around. Place the ace of spades on the face of the deck, right over those bands. Now hold on tight because you're going to grab one strand of one of those bands, and you're going to fold it up over the top of the deck and hold it with your first finger. Here's an exposed view for you. Now you need to straighten up these bands a bit so that the two bands look like one for a casual glance. Straighten these out a bit. Now you can't show the bottom of the deck, but you can briefly show the top. So I start out by saying, there's a deck wrapped with a rubber band. That's a quick enough flash for them not to see the discrepancy here, but quick enough for them to see a band wrapped around a deck. All you have to do when you snap your fingers is to release your first finger. The band slaps back around, back to its original position. It looks like the ace of spades has melted right through those bands. Take the ace off, and the deck is just the way it was to start. And that's snap from Ed Michel. This is splitting a band in two. Here's a quick one with a rubber band. You know what? We can make this trick twice as nice by making it a trick with two bands. Okay, you start with two rubber bands, held together as one. I kind of keep it in motion, that way they can't see that it's two individual bands, and keep lots of tension on it. You don't want it to be loose. Stick your pinkies in. Stick the rest of your fingers in so your first fingers and thumbs are free. And I kind of pick at the band. And you actually do have to pick at it until you can get just one single strand to break free. Grab the other strand in the other hand, release your pinkies, and you've just split one band into two. It's a nice quick little interlude that gets you into a trick with two rubber bands. This is vanishing an object in a silk. Okay, we start off with a silk handkerchief, drape it over the hand, take a ring, borrow it from somebody, drop it into the handkerchief, make a little magic pass, and the ring has disappeared. Okay, here's the secret. It's a rubber band. You start with a little tiny rubber band, the smallest one you can possibly find. I got this one from a pack of assorted rubber bands. This band starts out wrapped around your left fingers. The ring is borrowed. Take the handkerchief, drape it over your left hand. And under the handkerchief, you want to open up your fingers like this. You're going to drop the ring into this little space that you've created here, under cover of the handkerchief. So here are my fingers. Here's that little space created by the ring, by the rubber band. Drop the ring in. I'll give you an exposed view. I'm going to close my fingers around it The rubber band comes off and traps that ring inside the handkerchief. Now from the top, it looks like I've just closed my fingers around the ring. I bunch everything up, being careful to show my hands completely empty. Grab one corner of the handkerchief, give a little shake. It's gone. Now the only discrepancy is back there. But it's hidden in the back. They can't see it. And for an added little kicker, you bunch it up, toss it in the air, and the ring has vanished. You can use your favorite method to reproduce the ring later on. But that's vanishing a ring and a handkerchief using a rubber band. This is UF Grant's Elast Escape. We start by having a card selected. So if you would, say stop.
Stop.
Perfect. Take the card, take a look at it. If you would, sign your name on it too. Take it back when you're done. Perfect. There we go. We'll set that aside for a moment. I'll give you about half the cards. Give those a quick little shuffle. Wrap my half of the deck with a rubber band. And if you would, wrap your half with a rubber band too, right across the center. Perfect. All right. We'll place your half on top of my half. Now, hold onto your card and place it right between the two halves. Perfect. Square it up, snap the fingers. The card's gone, vanished. Here's the cool part. We'll take your packet. Nothing. We'll take this packet and one card shoots out right across the table, and there it is. Your card. That's Elast Escape. Here's the explanation for UF Grant's Elast Escape. You need a deck of cards and 2 rubber bands. Now we're using some small blue bands. You want a band that'll fit comfortably around half the deck. It's not too tight and not a big loose one. Start off by having a card selected. We use the one we use in the performance. It's selected, signed, and set aside. Now you'll take half the deck, about half, hand it to your spectator, and tell her to shuffle it. While she's shuffling, you do the same thing. Give yours a quick little shuffle. Then you pick up one of the rubber bands and wrap it around your deck from long side to long side. Hand her a rubber band and tell her to do the same thing with her deck. Now while she takes a moment to do this, she'll be distracted just for a moment. With your packet, you're going to lift up about 5 cards. Give the cards a full twist and lay them back down. Just lift up, give them a complete twist, and lay them back down. And you want to take a second to align the sides just a little bit. She's done. Have her hand you back her packet. That goes on top of your packet. Now we're going to make her card vanish. Hand her her card and tell her she's going to insert it in between the 2 packets. Now what actually happens, instead of lifting up between the 2 packets, you're going to lift up into that break that you created between your 5 cards and your rest of your packet, that little top that you twisted off a second ago. So you place your finger here to cover up this discrepancy and lift up. So you're lifting 2 sections. This is the actual center between the 2 decks. You lift up, let her place her card in there, and you can even do it face up, which is an even more convincing vanish. She places it in, you square everything up, make your magic gesture. Now when you separate the packets, you're going to separate at the actual separation point. Now her card is here. She thought it was there. You show it, now her card is gone. Now keep a good grip on this packet so the card doesn't fly out prematurely. Take her packet, and we drop it onto the table. Nothing happens. Now when you drop this packet onto the table, you want to drop it from about 2 or 3 inches high, and you want to keep your left hand in position ready to catch that card as it shoots out. As soon as you let go, this top packet's going to spin around and launch this card out. You want to trap it with your hand. We'll do it once at full speed for you so you can see how it travels. It'll take you a couple practice times to catch it. But when you do, you'll have one amazing piece of acrobatic card magic. Big thanks to UF Grant for a last escape. This is Al Baker's The Deck That Cuts Itself. Okay, let's start by having a card selected. We'll go with this card right here. Cards returned to the deck. Give the deck a couple little cuts there. Now we're going to wrap the deck with a rubber band. There we go. We'll cut a few cards from the face, give them a little twist. Square everything up nice and neat. Set the deck on the table, place my finger on it. Keep an eye on the deck. 1, 2, 3. One card. Stick hand of the deck. The deck has cut itself right to the chosen card. And that's Al Baker's The Deck That Cuts Itself. Okay, here's the explanation for the deck that cuts itself. You start by having a card selected. We'll use the one we used before in the performance. The card's returned to the deck, and you're going to control it back to the top of the deck. We'll do that with a double undercut. The cards are placed. As you place these cards back on top, you want to put your pinky in between the halves of the cards. That marks the spot where the card was returned to. If you squeeze with your thumb and your fingers, it keeps the front of the deck pretty well squared up. Now, under the guise of giving the deck a couple of cuts, we're going to get that card back to the top. Your right hand comes over the deck. You're going to take about half the cards from underneath your break, about that many, and bring them to the top. Now your thumb keeps that space there so you don't lose it. Your hand comes back to the bottom, takes the rest of the cards right up to that break, and brings them to the top. And now your chosen card's on top of the deck, right where it needs to be for the rest of the trick. So you've cut the card to the top of the deck. You pick up a rubber band. And for this, you need a rubber band that'll just fit around the deck. You don't want anything that's too big or too loose. If your band's too big, you might want to double it over. Wrap the band around all 5 fingers of your right hand. And as your right hand comes over the deck to wrap it in the rubber band, as soon as you have that cover from your right hand, your left thumb is going to push that back card, that's the selected card, going to push it over just a bit. Just enough so that when you come over with the rubber band, you can actually wrap it around the rest of the deck, but not the selected card. Square everything up, bring the rubber band down to where it needs to be. From the front, everything looks fine, but from the back, that card's still loose. So you're here. Now we go down to the table. Turn the deck face up in your hand. Be careful not to let that loose card slide out. Center the band on the deck, and you want to lift up about 10 cards. Pull them over to the right. Give them a twist. Turn your hand palm up. Then these are going to go under, are going to close like a book. Under the deck like that. Flip everything face up in your hand and hold on to it. You don't want anything to spring out just yet. Place it on the table and have your spectator place her finger on top of it. Have her keep her finger there. Tell her to lift it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. When you lift it up, we'll do it slowly. The top half of the deck will pivot around. The rubber band will pivot it around, leaving one card stuck out of the deck, as you saw in the performance. This looks really freaky. You're standing away from the deck. They're doing it all. Pull the card out, flip it over. There's their card with their name on it, and you've just done an amazing piece of magic. This one's called Why Not? Start with 2 bands, a blue band and a yellow band. We'll hook the yellow band through the blue band. The yellow one gets put on spectator's finger. Blue in my hand, yellow in their hand. It all takes is a little tug. Now the yellow's in my hand, the blue's in their hand. We can do it again. Yellow in my hand, blue in their hand. Little tug. Now the blue's in my hand, and the yellow's in their hand. And that's a little quickie called Why Not? Here's the explanation for why not. Two bands, a blue band and a yellow band. As long as they're different colors, it's all that matters. You want to link one band through the other, like this. In this case, we'll take the yellow one, fold it in half, and you're going to place that over the spectator's finger. I'll give you a second to see exactly how it is. Now the whole trick is that you're going to make the yellow band and the blue band trade places. You hang onto the blue band with your left hand. With your right hand, you want to grab one of the upper strands of the yellow band. You're going to release the blue band and yank on the yellow band, and the bands, we'll do this slowly, will trade places. Do it again. This time you're holding onto the yellow, grab one of the blue strands, give it a yank, and the strands trade places. That's it. It's a quickie, but it's a fun one to do, and it's a nice interlude between your heavier pieces of rubber band magic. Now we have the clips that join. Take a rubber band, place it around the center of a bill. There we go. Now we're going to fold the bill over and add a couple of paper clips to it. Here's one. Another one over here. There we go. Two paper clips and a rubber band. 1, 2, 3. That's clips that join. For the clips that join, you need a bill, a nice sized rubber band, and a couple of paper clips. Start by putting the rubber band right on the center of the bill. Now we're going to do that old trick where the paper clips link together, only with a rubber band on it. So we fold the bill into an S shape, like this, keeping the rubber band in the center of the whole mess. Take a paper clip and you're going to clip together two parts of the bill. You want to clip these two pieces right here and then right here. So you're clipping this part right here. There we go. And you'll do the same thing over on this side. So you bring it up like this so the audience can see what's going to happen. Give it a good quick yank. You can't do it slowly, you have to do it with a little bit of force. Does it all by itself? The paper clips link together through each other and through the rubber band. And that's clips that join. This one's called crisscross. Okay, we start by having a card selected from the deck. Go with this one right here. The card's returned to the deck. Take a rubber band and circle the deck in the rubber band. So you have a deck wrapped in a rubber band. To find your card would be pretty hard at this point. But all I have to do, give the deck a little bit of a shake, and I found your card. And that's crisscross. And here's how you do crisscross. Have a card selected, have it returned to the deck, and control it back to the top. You can use the double undercut that we taught in the deck that cuts itself. Your card is on top. Turn the whole deck face up, and you're going to wrap it in a rubber band. Rubber band goes around all the right fingers. As you come towards the deck from behind, you're going to use your first finger to buckle that bottom card. You're just pulling up here, which will make that bottom card separate away from the rest of the deck. From behind, just pull. The card separates away. Wrap the rubber band around everything but that bottom card. Take the rubber band, give it a twist, and wrap it around the deck the other way. So now from the face of the deck, it looks like the deck is wrapped twice. But in reality, that bottom card is only wrapped once. You're not going to show the bottom, but you can flash it by placing your first finger right across where that rubber band should be on the back. I show it banded, I turn my hand over very subtly. It looks like the band should still be there. One more time. Break away that bottom card. Rubber band goes right above that bottom card. Pick up the band, give it a twist, and wrap it around the deck from the other direction. To reveal the card, hold the deck face up, place it into your right hand, and your thumb is just going to pull back that top card just a little bit, just enough to get a hold on it with your thumb and first finger. You're going to shake, shooting the deck down into your left hand. What happens is the band comes right out from underneath. The deck falls into your left hand. You're left holding one card. Turn it over to show it's their chosen card. And the rest of the deck is still banded. So it's a very impossible way to find a card. And that is crisscross. This one is thumb through. There we go. The band goes around your thumb. So it's locked on there. The spectator can yank on to make sure it's on there. 1, 2, 3. And that's thumb through. Okay, here's how to do Ben Stone's thumb through. Start with the band around your right fingers. Your hand is palm towards the audience. Place the band around your thumb. Turn your hand away from you. Insert the middle finger. Turn your right hand back towards you. And this loop down here, the bottom loop, is going to be placed right up over the thumb. There's a nice exposed view. This is the part you want to let go of to release the band. Your fingers are kept pretty close together, so the spectators can't see this. This is all hidden behind your fingers. Spectator grabs both strands. They pull once, twice. On the third pull, you pull your middle finger out, and they yank the band right through your thumb for a very visible thumb through the finger. And now we have the rubber band star. Here's how you make the rubber band star. Just like that. Okay, here's how you make the 5-pointed star. Start with a rubber band wrapped around your middle finger and thumb. Your right hand approaches, palm up. Your first and second fingers go into the strand. They pull down, and the hand turns palm down. Now your first finger and middle finger are going to come up and grab these strands right here. They just go right up over the top of the strands. Your thumb is going to take this strand right here, right in between the first finger and middle finger. Get underneath so you can see that. This strand right here. Your thumb hooks it and pulls it off the fingers. So now it's gone from being below the first and second fingers to being above the first and second fingers. Your first finger comes over the top of everything, under that just released strand, and you stretch your fingers out to form the 5-pointed star. Now it looks like a lot to do, but it actually goes pretty quickly and pretty easily. And once you learn this, you'll be able to burn this off really, really quickly. Now we have another version of the 5-pointed star, but this one has some extras to it that I think you're really going to like. Okay, we start with the band right here. Do a little cross, a little yank, and we get the 5-pointed star. From the 5-pointed star, we can transfer it to the triangle within a triangle. From there, we go to the big finish, the star within a star. But we don't stop there. If I let go here, we get the bunny rabbit. If I let go over here, we get the rocket ship. And that's the second version of the 5-pointed star. Okay, here's how we do the second version of the 5-pointed star. Now this one goes from the 5-pointed star into the star within a star, to the bunny rabbit, the triangle within a triangle, and then finally to the rocket ship. In that order, or something like that. We'll show you now. Start with a rubber band between the thumb and first finger this time. First finger of your right hand comes from underneath. It'll go in between the strands, so it goes under the bottom strand, over the top strand, pulls that strand down. Your right hand turns palm up and places the rubber band over the pinky. Take your first finger again, you're going to go into this gap right here, the gap where the thumb is. Into the gap, then into the gap from the first finger, and you're going to pull this strand straight down. Now your middle finger is going to go underneath this bottom strand, over this right strand, and pull down. Now it's a much more complicated way to make the 5-pointed star, but once you've made this, you release your thumb and pinky, and you get the triangle within a triangle. Take your thumb and middle finger, place them into the loops held by the first and second fingers of the right hand. There's your triangle within a triangle. Now we do the exact same moves we did to create the first 5-pointed star. 2 fingers from your right hand go into the center triangle. They grab the top strand, pull it out, then the hand turns palm down. First finger and middle finger are going to come up and grab these 2 strands up here. They pull down. Your thumb comes from underneath and is going to release this single strand, just like we did before. Your thumb comes in between the first and second finger. It's going to grab this strand right here and pull it off those fingers. Now you're here. If you just stretch the hands out, you form the star within a star. This is a great point to stop. You'll get some oohs and ahs here. You take it a step further. Release the middle finger of your upper hand, just the middle finger. Bring your thumb and first finger together, and now you've made the bunny rabbit. Release your thumb. Stretch your hands apart, one hand going up, one hand going down, and you get the rocket ship. Now it's kind of fun to go from here just to let go and let it shoot up into the air. There's the rocket ship, shoots up to your finger, and you're done. You've just done a great little suite of 4 or 5 different moves using one rubber band. Makes you look like a real show-off with rubber bands. This is the two-way stretch by Eugene Lyons. Okay, this is it. Probably the hottest trick with rubber bands you'll ever see. Start with 2 bands, one on top, one on the bottom. We're going to rub those bands together right in the center until they become one rubber band. Now that was a cool trick. Here's how you do it. You use one band. Now this is perfect for a follow-up to your torn and restored rubber band trick because you end with a solid band. Here's your setup. Hold the band between your thumb and first finger with a single twist in it. Now I just do this down at my waist when I'm talking. I put it over my first finger, give a twist, and stick in my thumb. Now this is all hidden. You don't want to show this to the audience. What you want to do is you want to stick the first finger and thumb of your free hand through those same holes from behind, from your side. Stretch it apart and bring the fingers together. This is all done sort of down out of your spectator's view. And you bring it up like this. It looks like you have 2 bands. Now to really sell the fact that you have 2 bands, you can alternately open and close the thumb and fingers. This is your real situation. Just by opening and closing, it looks very natural, like you really do have 2 bands. It's a great, great part of the trick. Stop at some point, spread your left fingers apart, and all you're going to do is rub here in the center. Start rubbing, let it slip off your left thumb, keep rubbing, and straighten everything out into one rubber band. This is very important. Let it hang on your finger and show both hands very slowly, front and back. You just made a band completely disappear. It's a great trick. I hope you enjoy it. And this is the one that uses your mouth. People give me a lot of credit for having very talented fingers, very agile fingers. That's not the only part of me that's really talented. I'll show you what I mean. That's good eating. Tied into a knot. And that's the one that uses your mouth. Okay, to do the one that uses your mouth, you need 2 rubber bands. This is just the classic cherry stem tying trick. It's an old bar trick where you borrow a cherry stem, stick it in your mouth, pull it back out, and it's tied. Supposedly you've tied it with your tongue. Take 1 rubber band and tie a knot right in the center of it. Don't use too big of a band because you're going to have to store this in your mouth for a while. I stick it in my mouth and I push it off to the side so it's between my cheek and my gum. It'll sit there for plenty of time. It's completely out of the way and doesn't get in the way of you talking. So this goes there. There you go, it's tucked away. You can even open your mouth to show it empty if you want. I don't like to do that because I do it within the course of a couple other tricks. Pick up a band, a matching band, show it, you put it into your mouth, and I stick this one on this side in the same position, just on this side. This one goes in, this one comes out. Push it over. So it's tucked out of the way, and you should be doing all these motions anyways, as if you're really tying it with your tongue. Pull the other one out. Very carefully, grab the end, and pull it out of your mouth. Depending on the band you have, you're going to have to display it like that to show that you've tied a knot right in the center of the band using nothing but your tongue. It's kind of a gross trick, but it's pretty fun, and it'll definitely win you a beer or 2 at your next party. Now you're ready for the finger spin flourish. This is a great little flourish using just 2 fingers. Just like that. That's the finger spin flourish. It's a little something to use in between your heavier pieces of rubber band magic. Okay, to perform the little finger spin flourish you just saw, take a band, stretch it between your thumb and middle finger. Your first finger is going to come over the top of the first strand and under the second strand. Take your first finger out, or your thumb rather, out. So now it's between the first finger and middle finger. Your thumb is going to go in between the first finger and middle finger, and you're going to flick the band off your middle finger so it flies around your first finger. Thumb goes underneath, and you just flick. It'll spin around your hand. Middle finger and thumb. First finger comes over and under. Release the thumb. Thumb goes between those 2 fingers and spins the band. And that's it. That's your first rubber band flourish. Now we have taking Martin by the hand. We start by placing a rubber band around a spectator's wrist. Place it around a couple times like that, wrap it a couple times. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. That's what I like to call taking Martin by the hand, my variation of the Martin Gardner deck twist. Okay, here's how you do it. We're doing the Martin Gardner deck twist, only doing it with a spectator's hand. Get yourself a big band. I like to use the big binder or folder bands. The band goes over the spectator's hand. Now your left hand is going to be right here. Your middle finger is about to play a very important part. You wrap the band away from you. Your thumb takes the strand on top and pushes it away from you underneath the spectator's hand. It's going to loop over the middle finger. Now you're going to twist your hand. Your hand is palm up right now. You're going to twist it palm down and loop it over the spectator's hand. So now you've got both strands wrapped around there. You're holding this little bite with your finger here. And that's the key. As soon as you let go of that with your middle finger, this will come loose. So I like to hold it between my thumb and first finger to give everybody a nice clear shot of the top of the hand. I try and get my left hand as far back away from everything as I can by extending my middle finger. So it doesn't look like those fingers have anything to do with it, aside from just holding the arm. 1, 2. On 3, when the hand comes down, I release with my left middle finger. The band releases. There we go. And I come right back up. It's a very clean rubber band through the wrist. And you'll see this a little bit later in the Martin Gardner deck twist. From the brilliant mind of Ken Simmons, this is abandonment. We'll start by having a card selected. Right about there. Got it? Great. Take a rubber band, wrap it securely around the deck. There we go. One more time. There we go. The deck wrapped up in the rubber band, all I have to do is snap my fingers. And the rubber band vanishes. All it takes is one more snap, and the rubber band reappears. Only now, it's wrapped around one single card. Your selected card. And that is abandonment. Okay, to start the trick, you need to have a card selected. Now in this case, the card gets selected and controlled to the bottom of the deck. So I'll show you how we'll do that. There's the card. Now when you square up, before we did a double undercut, we'll do another one here. Only this time, instead of placing my pinky on top of the chosen card, we put the pinky below the chosen card. Put the rest of the cards on top. Now just like before, the right hand comes over and takes over that break. Your left hand cuts about half the cards from below that gap to the top of the deck. Then it comes over and takes the rest of the cards to the top of the deck. So now your chosen card is on the bottom. You want to make sure you keep the deck low while you're doing this, down around your waist or down around the top of the table. That way you don't flash that bottom card. Take a rubber band. You're going to wrap it around the deck. And as before, you're going to buckle that bottom card with your first finger. Just pulling with the first finger makes that bottom card bow. Just enough so you can wrap the rubber band around the deck, but not the bottom card. Now you immediately grab the band, pull it to the side. Your middle finger of the hand that's holding the deck goes in between the strands of the band. The band comes up over the hand. So stretch this over, middle finger goes between those strands, and notice the top strand is going between you and the finger, and the bottom strand is going on the outside of the finger. This gets stretched up over the top. So now it looks like the band's going around the deck, but it's really just around your finger. So you need to hide that. So after I strap it around, I kind of keep this hand close, just to cover that little discrepancy there. Ready for the trick? I'm going to take my hand away, but as soon as I take my hand away, I snap my fingers and release this. I just curl my finger in so it releases. So you snap, the band will shoot back around the deck. Now to guarantee that the band gets out of the way completely, that it's not left showing like that, what you want to do is, when you snap your fingers, you want to open your hand. Open all your fingers. All the fingers of the left hand open up. So snap like this. That way it gives the band some room to disappear. Now the band is now wrapped around the bottom card only. Spread through the deck to show the band has disappeared. Just being careful not to spread too far. The band is gone. Reassemble the deck with the top portion going to the bottom now. So now you're going to sandwich this card in the center. Square it up. Now notice the fingers are here to cover any little glimpse of that band. Snap. When I snap, I open my hand a bit. And now you can see that little bit of blue sticking out. Just opening the hand, the cards slide a bit. There it is. Spread through the cards very cleanly, very carefully. take that one card, hold it up, and show the rubber band has found their card. It's an amazing trick and not too hard to do. This is Abandonment by Ken Simmons. This one's called Backhanded. Start by having a card selected from the deck. Run my thumb down the side until someone says stop. Stop. Perfect. Use that card right there. Card goes into the deck. Give the deck a couple of cuts to bury the card. Now we're going to secure the deck by wrapping it with a rubber band. There we go. Go a little further. We'll wrap the rubber band even further around the deck like this. There we go. Your deck inside the band around my hand. 1, 2, 3. And that's backhanded. Okay, let's learn this puppy. We start by having a card selected from the deck. We'll go with our Sheila card again and control the card to the bottom of the deck. Now, I've already shown you how to do this in the previous one, but very briefly. The card is in the center of the deck. Your pinky has a break below the card. You're going to keep that break and cut off about half the cards below the break. Bring them to the top. Cut the rest of the cards below the break. Bring them to the top. Now their chosen card is on the bottom. Grab your rubber band, and just like in abandonment, you're going to buckle the bottom card. The band goes around the deck, only not around the bottom card. Stretch the band off to the right. Your middle finger goes between the strands of the band. The band goes over the top of the deck, so you're in the same position as abandonment with the band around your middle finger. Only now you're going to insert your right hand into this band here. So your right hand is inside there. You're holding the deck sort of in a palm position. From here, it's all automatic. You just let go of the deck will fall, and the bottom card will be brought around onto the top of your hand. So all you have to do is open your hand out flat, let the deck fall, and let the banded card whip around onto the back of your hand. That's it. If you can do abandonment, you can do backhanded, an even flashier version of abandonment. Again, thank you to Ken Simmons. Now here's something a little different. This is the penetrating ring. Start with a couple of rubber bands. I'm going to link those around my fingers so that nothing can get in, nothing can get out. That's exactly what this little ring is going to do. Fingers all banded together. If I place the ring right there, it can't pass through unless we use some magic. 1, 2, right through. The ring is passed right through the rubber band. Now to get it off, it's a little harder. I have to shake. So one last look. Linked on. Here we go. 1, 2. Just like that. The ring is off. The fingers are still linked together, and everything is completely inspectable. Okay, for this you need a brass ring. So any ring will work. A big washer will work too. But a nice size ring about like that. A couple of rubber bands. Now double the bands up, and you're going to link them around your fingers. Just going back and forth. So your fingers are all linked together. And you want the rubber band to be fairly high on the fingers, up around the first joints. Now you're going to do a secret move. After you've done this and they see your fingers locked in there, that's when you bring the ring up for them to look at. Under cover of that, you're going to slip your middle finger out and place it back behind the bands. So your middle finger is actually free. But as long as it's kept up against the band, everything looks pretty normal. So you do this while you're showing this to the audience. Now here's a little subtlety. You're going to do a pivot move to show the front and the back of your hands, which obviously you can't do now. Now, under cover of the hand turning over, your middle finger is going to go in front of the bands. So you've got this big motion, this big sweeping motion of the hand to cover the tiny motion of the finger moving. from here to here. And then just reverse the moves. As you bring the hand palm toward the audience again, your middle finger comes out, it goes behind the band. This will take a little bit of practice, but you'll get it pretty quickly. It's just a little knack. If you give your hand a little motion while you do it, you have plenty of cover. Place the ring on the middle finger, show how impossible it is for it to get down. Now, to make it actually pass through, and wave your hand once, twice. On the third wave, your middle finger just pulls back so the ring can fall down. Then your middle finger comes forward again, and the fingers close. Very easy. Middle finger just moves back, the ring falls, middle finger comes forward again. There it is, it's passed right through. Now we're going to do our pivot move again to show the other side of the hand. Now you can show the back of the hand. Come back again, show the front of the hand. Now to get it off, shake it down like this so they can see it's really on there. It's not going to come off. Bring your other hand underneath. Shake, shake, and on the third time, your middle finger just comes away from the band. So the ring will fall off into your left hand. When you come up to show the ring to everybody, your middle finger goes back into the strands. All it does, it just goes over the close strand and under the far strand. So now you've shown the ring, you can bring your hand forward, and everything's inspectable. Now here's the thumb tie with rubber bands. There's a classic routine in magic called the thumb tie, which some performers have just gone all over the world with. In fact, there's someone in Vegas right now doing a very, very funny routine with a thumb tie. Normally you use wire or string to tie the thumbs together. You can actually use your rubber band. This is an idea from Harlan Tarbell from the Tarbell course in magic. You want a band that's fairly thick, not too thick, and you don't want a really big band. You don't want to use the binder bands. The way you tie your thumbs is you want to insert two thumbs from the far side in towards you. Then twist your thumbs outward. Do the same thing on the other side. Insert your thumbs from out towards you. Then twist them away from you. So you end up with this. Okay. Now you're going to take the loops that are around your first fingers and put them around your thumbs. Pull them all the way down onto the bases of your thumbs, and that's our thumb tie. Now you'll hold your hands like this for most of the routine, and the idea of the routine, if you don't know already, is that even though your hands are well tied together, your hands still magically pass through items, through a mic stand, through the leg of a chair as you pick it up to hand to somebody. The secret move is you're going to actually take your thumb out. Take your first finger of your right hand, and you're going to dip it into this opening where the thumb is. That pulls the opening open. You pull your thumb out, and then stick it next to your other thumb. Close the hands together. This hides the dirty work down here. And from the top, everything looks pretty well tied together. As long as you keep this first finger hidden down below the thumbs, your hands look pretty well tied together. They can look from the sides, they can look from the top. You see that little extra piece running down the middle? From the far side, your hands look like they're pretty well done together. Now when someone hands you something, you go to reach for something, and as you do, you will just slip the thumb out, put your hands around the object, and slip your thumb back in. One of the classic ideas in a thumb tie routine is to use a linking ring, to have someone hand you the ring. Now you don't want to use the gimmick for this one, you want to use the real ring. You have your hands together. Normally you would have them toss it to you, and as they do, your hands approach the ring, slip the thumb out, keeping the hands fairly close together, catch the ring. You don't want to catch it with your hands, you just want to catch it on your arms. Slip the thumb back in, and now you're linked through the ring. And once again, they can inspect your thumbs to see if they are still tightly tied together. This creates a moment of hilarity as they try to get the ring back off again. Then when you want it to get back off, you just reverse the moves. They hold the ring, and this is all very quick and can be covered very easily. We're exposing this to you, but you would normally do this dirty work on the side away from your audience. The thumb slips out, keeping the hands together. The thumb slips right back in again. Now you can do it through a mic stand, through the ring, through the chair. The routine's up to you, and there's some great routines in magic. I encourage you to go out and find them. To finish the routine, you're just going to insert your thumb back into this loop again. So we'll expose it for you. Back into this loop here that the first finger's been holding the whole time. The thumb goes back in, the first finger releases, and you're right back where you started from. So it's a great, easy, inexpensive way to do the thumb tie with something that everybody knows is solid, a rubber band. This is the ring and band link. Borrow a ring. Make sure everybody sees it. It's a real ring. Nothing funny about it. Take a rubber band. We're going to mix this ring and this band together into an impossible situation. Here we have a ring linked onto the center of a rubber band. Put everything in the hand, snap your fingers, here's your rubber band, and there's the ring. You've just done an impossible close-up linking with a borrowed ring. To do the ring and band link, you need a rubber band, and you borrow a ring. It's important that you borrow it, because if you use your own ring, they're going to think there's something funny about it, and there's absolutely nothing. You can do it with any ring. Now we're going to use a move from the Torn and Restored Elastic by Walter Rollins. Borrow the ring, place it over your first finger, then place the rubber band over the first finger and thumb. Now we're basically doing the Torn and Restored Elastic, but with a ring wrapped around it. Your left fingers come over, pinch the center of the band. Your right thumb and middle finger come together, slipping the band off both fingers. You're going to place your right, middle, and ring finger into the strand where the band is. Place your left, middle, and ring finger in there, and stretch everything out. And it looks like the band is linked on. The band is really just doubled over, and the wedding band is just hanging on there. Keep it in motion a bit. Let everything go into the left hand. Snap your fingers. Pull the band out. Pull the ring out. Make sure you stretch out the band so they can see that the band is still in one piece, not broken. And then return the ring. That's it. Once again, much respect goes to the creator, Mr. Walter Rollins. This one's called The Link. Full credit goes to the genius Bill Kalush for coming up with this. If you like the last linking ring on rubber band, you're going to love this one. Borrow a ring from somebody. Borrow a rubber band or pull out your own rubber band. Keep an eye on that ring. That ring is about to pass right through the side of that rubber band. Look at that. That ring is without a doubt on that rubber band, has passed right through. To get it off, you have to give it a little tug, and it pops right off. Return the ring, lay down your rubber band, and accept your much deserved applause. Once again, thank you to Bill Kalush. Borrow the ring, place it on your first finger of your left hand. Place the rubber band on your first finger and thumb. You pull the ring down so it's in the center of the band. Your right hand comes over and you insert your bottom three fingers, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky, into the far side of the band. Your first finger and thumb grab the ring. Your right hand continues, turning palm up, and those three fingers grab the inside, the near side of the band, and come away. Now your first finger and thumb are covering where the band is hanging over the ring. It's a very clean look. You can show this from a lot of great angles. It looks very amazing, like that ring has really passed right through. And you'll see you have to hold very little of the rubber band, of the ring, excuse me, to cover that rubber band. So you can show a lot of that ring. To get out of it, your right fingers let go except for your thumb and first finger. Now, the only thing that's holding it on there is just your thumb and first finger hanging onto that band. Give a little tug, release your thumb and first finger. The band seems to pass right through the side of the ring. Return the ring. set the band down, and take your applause. And now you're ready for the spread suspension. Spread the cards out to have a card selected. Pick one of those, or one of those, or one of those, or one of those, or one of those. I can keep on going all day here, but I think I better stop right there. Okay, that was the spread suspension. It's a great little trick, a little move to throw in along with your card magic or with your rubber band magic. Now for this, you'll need some rubber bands around your wrist. This is a great camouflage idea. Before you do your spread suspension, take one rubber band, and you want to stretch it beneath your hands and over your middle finger, your ring finger in this case. That's your get ready. You have your deck. Your left hand is going to reach under as if to grab the deck to spread it out. Your fingers reach a little further and they're going to grab that band. Now all you do is, as you're spreading your hands, you're stretching out that band underneath. Try and give you a view from up here. As you're spreading out, you're just hanging on to that rubber band. Now this way, you'll be able to spread your hands and just keep going and going and going and just keep pushing over cards with your left thumb. It looks really impossible. You've got this great suspension of cards being held in midair between your hands. Obviously, your fingers can't possibly stretch that far. Let them pull out a card. Now, square up. As you bring the bands back up, your hands back up, you can release that band so it flies right back to around your wrist. Square everything up, they look at their card, and you continue on with your card trick. It's a great little magical piece to throw in. Now we have the Master Link by Chad Sanborn. We start off with two bands, a blue one and a yellow one. The blue one comes off like this. There you go. So you have the blue one in front of the yellow one. But all I have to do is give a little rub right there with my little finger. And that blue strand should melt right through the yellow strand, passing right through. A little twist, and the bands are free again. And that's the Master Link by Chad Sanborn. Okay, you need two different colored bands for this one. In our case, we'll take the blue one and put it around the thumb and first finger. The yellow one goes around the thumb and the middle finger. Now you need a little bit of space between these two on the thumb. Now we're going to reach through and grab this blue strand, the strand that's in between the two yellow strands. We're going to grab it. We're going to pull it over the first finger here, right up over the top of the first finger. Now in a continuing motion, once you pull that over, your thumb is going to engage this other blue strand, the upper blue strand, and pull it back off the finger. So now you have this. One more time. You have the blue strand around the thumb and first finger, the yellow strand around the thumb and middle finger, and the yellow strand is above the blue strand. Place the first finger and middle finger together. Your thumb and first finger of your right hand reach through and grab this center blue strand, the strand that's bordered by the two yellow strands. You'll grab it. You're going to loop it over the first finger. Then once you come over, your thumb, you'll release this strand. Your thumb grabs this top blue strand, the other blue strand, and pulls it back off the first finger. So now you're here. You can see the bands have already linked, but we're going to cover that. As soon as you come off, your middle finger covers that point. Make some rubbing motions, and be sure you keep these two fingers together, because that's where all the dirty work is. Keep those fingers together. Rub back and forth. Chad likes to press and then let that yellow strand pop right through. You can put your hands back, you can display it. A very impossible looking link of one band through another. Now, we're going to release the middle finger of the left hand and the thumb of the left hand, and just hold on to it with the thumb of the right hand and the first finger of the left hand. They release, giving the band a little half twist. There's your final display to show that the band is back off again. You've just done Chad Sanborn's Master Link. This is Stranded by Rick Johnson. Take a rubber band, double it over, you have a spectator cut right through the strands. Cutting both bands in half. Pretty impossible, but we can fix this. We'll take these top strands, and to restore it, it takes a little bit of a magic twist. The band's back in one piece. Oh, okay, that's pretty weak. So I think we can do better than that. We'll wrap it around the hand like this. There we go. Do a little magic pass. And now when we unwrap it, the band is back to one solid rubber band. And that's Stranded from Rick Johnson. This is the classic cut and restored rope, only using a rubber band. It makes it a little more impromptu. To start off, have the band inspected. You want to give the band a complete twist. Okay, so not just a half twist like that, but a complete twist. One more time. Fold this in half so it looks like you just doubled over the band. This is your little secret bit right here that you don't want anybody to see. So you'll place your thumb right over that little joint there. Looks like you have the band just doubled over. Have a spectator take some scissors and cut right through both of those strands. Now, just like in the classic cut and restored rope, what you actually have is a tiny piece of rubber band and a long piece of rubber band. But as long as it's hidden behind the fingers, it looks like the band has been cut into two separate pieces. Again, just like the classic one, we're going to tie these two pieces into a knot. Now, don't make it a tight knot. Just a very simple little knot like that. This happens in the fingers. You don't want to expose it too much. Tie your knot, make your magic pass, and show you've restored the rubber band. Now, this is a gag. It should look like you just tied the two halves together. But actually, this knot will slide up and down the rubber band. The way to get it off, you're going to coil it around the left fingers. And as you coil it around, this little knot begins to slip off. This is why you don't want to tie it too tight. So you're coiling it around. The knot will come off completely into your right hand. The hand immediately goes to your pocket, goes to your lap, and dumps this little bit. You can drop it in your pocket and then pull out your magic coin to make the wave over your rubber band, or just go to your pocket for some invisible dust. Make a little pass over the rubber band and unfurl it to show that you've completely restored the cut rubber band. You've just done the classic of stage magic up close. Thanks to Rick Johnson for Stranded. Now one of my favorites, through a spectator's finger. Get yourself a spectator and wrap a band around her fingers, just like this. There we go. Securely wrapped around there. Now I'm going to hold the tip of her first finger. I'm going to grab these strands, and it's on there. And hopefully make it pass magically right through her finger. That's the band through the spectator's finger. Okay, here's what you do. You need a band. Doesn't matter the size of the band, but you don't want a really big one. So we'll use a fairly normal size band. You need 2 fingers from a spectator. And wrap the band around her first finger. You're going to cup up under her second finger and back over again. Now this is the important part. Over the finger, and don't cross the bands. Don't turn your hand over. Over her finger, and back onto the first finger. Make sure you don't put any twists in the band. you should end up just like this. Now, to get it free, you hold the tip of her first finger, or you can even have her hold the tip of her first finger. It's even more convincing if she does it. Grab these two strands here. You're going to pull them off this finger, and then in the same motion, release one of those strands. And the band will come right off. So one more time, very quickly. Over one finger, under the other finger, and back over. Have her hold the finger, grab two strands here, and yank them right through. This is the band through a spectator's finger. It's one of my favorites to do. And now you're ready for synthesis by me, Ben Salinas. That is synthesis. Okay, to perform my synthesis illusion, you need a bunch of bands of the same color, all wrapped around your wrist. You're going to use the camouflage idea. Now, one strand goes in your left hand. The other strand is going to be pulled up from your wrist. It's going to be twisted over your thumb, then laid over your first finger. Now, this is a very quick get ready you can do as you drop your hands down to your side just for a moment. Don't worry too much about anything showing down here. It's not that important. You're only going to be holding this position for just a moment. Show it to you from the back. Hold the other band in the same position, and you want it pretty close to the tips of the fingers. Show the bands. As you bring the hands together, you're going to pull your thumb in and release your first finger so the band snaps back onto your wrist. Now that happens here as the hands come together. You're camouflaged by the left fingers. Your right first and second fingers are going to dip into the strand. Your thumb goes in. Your left hand immediately turns palm away from you, twisting towards you, and then back away from you, so that now you end up here with one twist in the band. You keep your fingers together so it looks like two bands. Now by separating your fingers and your thumbs alternately, you can give the illusion of two bands. Take the right hand and bring it down, which helps to strengthen the illusion of two separate bands. Make sure you keep the fingers together, not apart, but together. Come back up. Your right hand is going to turn inwards towards you and let the strands slip off your fingers. At the same time, you grab the left hand strand. You rub. To help strengthen the illusion, your left fingers are going to expand, stretching out that band to make it look as if this band is growing. Very cleanly take your right hand away. Very carefully and very cleanly show the band on both sides. Let it hang from your finger, and you've done my synthesis illusion. This is a trick I've been doing for about 6 years now. It never fails to get an outstanding response. Don't worry about the little setup. It's very easy to do. You've got one killer piece of magic. This is my version of the rubber band through the wrist. It's called hypertonic. Start with the band, doubled over. Place the band around your wrist. You can yank on it. That band's really on there. That's not going to go anywhere. But all it takes is a quick yank, and the band goes right through your wrist. That's hypertonic. Hypertonic is my method for the rubber band through the wrist, using the big fat binder bands because they're much more visible. Now, this came from playing with the Martin Gardner deck penetration. From that, I came up with the taking Gardner by the wrist, by the hand. Then I noticed in playing with this that the main thing behind all of these was that there was a little bite of rubber band once you made the loop. And this little bite was the key, which is the key for most rubber band tricks. Most of the methods for getting into it were kind of convoluted. So I looked at it and tried to figure out what was the easiest way to get into this position. And the easiest way was to start between your first fingers. Your other fingers come around. As your fingers come together, your left thumb is going to be inserted into this hole here. Your left thumb is going to reach over and grab the right hand's piece of rubber band and pull it through. Your right fingers immediately grab this spot right here. You don't want to grab right on the band here. You want to grab this little bite up here. You're actually going to hide it in your thumbs. So now you can turn your hand forward and show the band pretty cleanly on both sides. You're hiding this little extra piece underneath your thumb there. We're exposing it for you. Looks like the band has just been doubled over. Place it around your wrist, and this will work on a spectator's wrist too. Place it around your wrist. The last thing you let go of is that little bite, and you're done. Now you can grab from the top and you can pull. You give it a pretty good pull and it won't come loose. The reason being that as long as that little bite is underneath your wrist, when you're pulling, all you're doing is stretching the band from the side of your wrist to your finger. The band underneath doesn't have much pressure on it. So you can pull several times. To actually get it off, you need to pull off to one side. 1, 2, 3, the bite comes loose. You immediately show that it's completely solid, and you've just done an amazing band through the wrist. This is my hypertonic. And now we have the Martin Gardner deck penetration. Take your deck of cards. We're going to wrap it with a rubber band. There you go. The band's wrapped. Grab the center pieces. 1, 2, 3. And that is the Martin Gardner deck penetration. Start by holding the deck. Thumb on top, fingers below. And wrap the rubber band around the deck. And you wrap it towards you. Now you're going to push away, turn your hand palm up, which puts a slight twist in the rubber band. And you're going to push with your thumb on this upper strand so it goes around your middle finger. Now you're going to turn your hand palm down. You create a little space for that third finger. The third finger pulls over. The hand wraps up around the deck. If you hold it properly, it looks like your hands are nowhere near the rubber band. Spectator grabs the top strand. They pull. When you're ready for the magic to happen, just release your middle finger just by sliding it back just slightly. The band completely releases, and they're left holding a complete rubber band, and you're holding the deck. That's Martin Gardner's deck penetration. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the DVD. Go out, get yourself some rubber bands, and be ready to amaze some people with some impromptu, anywhere, anytime magic. I'm Ben Salinas. Thanks for watching.